Ladies and gentlemen, Nicolas Cage just shined a spotlight onto Alec Baldwin. Now, he didn't mention him by name, but he basically said he should have known how to use firearms if he was going to use them in a movie, if he was going to play movie star. And so it's very interesting. Nicolas Cage said, hey, listen, people don't like movie stars, and I'll give you the exact quote. People don't like movie stars. They want the actors to be humble, which Alec Baldwin is the antithesis of. But if you're going to be a movie star, you got to learn how to ride horses, fight. You got to know how to do the things you're acting or that you're pretending to do. And that also involves firearms and firearm safety. We know that Alec Baldwin did not wait until the armor was in the church or in the facility or building on the set that he was on. The armorer did not give him the firearm, so he just relied on the assistant director. Now, I was going to do a segment on the topic that I was talking about pertaining to Alec Baldwin before this, but this just came out right now. But the police have his bloodstained costume. If indeed that was DNA from the tragic accident of either the wounded director or the cinematographer who lost her life, if indeed that blood was on his clothing, then how on earth could he have stated he thought that she fainted? He thought she had a heart attack. He didn't know. Everyone knew. This is the problem. This is where the arrogance and the narcissism comes in. I only pulled the hammer. Well, and then he goes, I only pulled the hammer, but I know not to point the trigger of the firearm at anyone. Well, you know not to point and pull the trigger of the firearm at anyone, but you don't know enough not to pull the hammer while you're pointing in their direction. So these are like, he's almost daring the law enforcement in Santa Fe to charge him with involuntary manslaughter. It's unbelievable. I mean, who does he think? Like, Alec Baldwin must think that the entire planet is just, somebody working on his movie set that, for whatever reason can't refute any absurd thing he says. But here, I want to read you this quote. And the quote is very interesting. Let's get to it right here. But I do think, so this is Nicolas Cage referring to Alec Baldwin, and Nicolas Cage is like, I've always thought a million times better than Alec Baldwin, but anyway. Quote, but I do think, and I'm not talking about anybody, but people don't like the word movie star. We want humble actors, he continued, but a movie star is a bit of a different kind of presentation because you need to know how to ride a horse. You need to know how to fight. You're going to do fight scenes. You need to know how to ride a motorcycle. You need to know how to use a stick shift and drive sports cars. And you do need to know how to use a gun. You do. You need to take the time to know how the procedure is. Those are a part of the job profiles. Okay, so very likely Alec Baldwin knows none of those things, or maybe some of those things, but he certainly has no concept of firearm safety. But he's a very, very vocal liberal Democrat who would love to erase the Second Amendment because he thinks he's going to keep people safe. Well, this is the same person who ended someone's life 18 inches away from her and wounded a director because he didn't check the firearm himself. That's number one. And he left it outside of the building for like 10 minutes unattended. Anyone could have put that live round there. Anyone. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. The market's tanking. And this is only a precursor. It could go up again tomorrow, but we're going to see a devastating market crash this year. And subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. I explain in my Federalist article that I wrote about 3-4 months ago now, in the pinned comment, and to my new Patreons, I cannot thank you enough. In this day and age where it's difficult to talk about a lot of things, I managed to, communicate my thoughts, and you enable this channel and the other channel to function. I just thank you so much. To my new Patreons, thank you so very, very much. My Patreon is below if you want to support my work long term. I'm going to hopefully soon start a Subscribe Star. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Hit subscribe to this channel. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. But Alec Baldwin is a narcissist, okay, arrogant, very, outspoken, and, it's good to be an activist, okay? That's fine. If there's a cause that you care about. But if your life is just like, what Bette Midler said about the entire state of West Virginia, like, media is just okay with that. She apologized, grudgingly, it wasn't really like half-hearted apology. I was seeing red. I was upset. So what? I mean, you have to think that you're the center of the universe if you can just insult millions of people because Joe Manchin doesn't do exactly what you want. They went after Trump for insulting, and nobody insults more than the morally superior liberal Democrats in Hollywood. Alec Baldwin would routinely take a gigantic dump on anyone he felt was a Republican or had a different viewpoint on social media. Social media, this is why Twitter is eventually going to go bankrupt. Social media is like a scourge upon humanity. It allows you to vent and to communicate all the negative emotions you have at that moment when ordinarily before social media, nobody on the planet would know you were upset or angry or livid or indignant. Nobody would care because we never had this. So, before Twitter or before Instagram, before Facebook, Alec Baldwin would have been, it actually would have been better for him. I mean, from a public relations perspective, he accidentally ended someone's life by not checking the firearm, pointing in her direction, almost certainly pulling the hammer. Well, he did pull the trigger of the firearm, or it was modified in some manner, okay? Because he was given that same firearm in the morning, and he literally emailed the armorer for a larger revolver, okay? So, and the New Mexico statute states pertaining to involuntary manslaughter, it states that if you are engaged in a lawful activity and you accidentally end someone's life despite taking ordinary and usual protocol, you likely won't be charged. That was according to one article by criminal defense attorneys who stated initially, yeah, he's probably not going to be charged because, it was an accident. Well, now we know that there's a protest of safety, protest of camera crew right before he ended the cinematographer's life. He was handed a firearm by the assistant director, didn't know if the firearm was checked, had no clue, he didn't check the firearm himself, had no clue that the firearm was, the Colt 45 was left unattended for 10 minutes on a cart because of what protocol. Okay, that's the psychosis that people are talking about. You leave a firearm because of what protocol outside of the building, okay? Where anyone can insert a live round. I think that that's a little bit more concerning than the what. The fact that a live round could be inserted into a Colt 45, which it was. Okay? Someone inserted that live round. And that was because the set was chaotic. And they were even putting plexiglass around cameras so the blanks wouldn't harm the cameras. But the actors, no protection at all. So they were risking their lives. People were risking their lives on that movie set. And there wasn't even a medic when they were building the set. That was like a person impaled his hand, okay, with part of a kitchen sink, something like that. And so you have a situation where you have morally superior liberal Hollywood Democrats, just yapping and giving their 2 cents on everything because they're so morally superior and they have to, protect the world from the really bad Republicans. And the Republicans don't care about climate change. It's like, well, you know what? Maybe you take a second away from saving the planet to ensure that a live round isn't loaded into a firearm that you're using to make money. That's another issue. They're making money from the Second Amendment, from firearms, from that moment in time, or that, romanticized moment in time where everyone was just walking around and protecting themselves or their families or whatever with, just the Hollywood movie romanticized version of that time period. So you're talking about the biggest hypocrites on the planet. But anyway, give me your thoughts below. I'll be back in a couple of hours. I'll do a segment right now on the Stock Market Crash channel on the market tanking. Give me your thoughts. Thank you so very, very much. Nicolas Cage completely blasted Alec Baldwin and called him out and basically didn't really say, hey, he was trying to be respectful, not calling him out directly, but he did. Not utilizing his name, but saying, hey, if you're going to use firearms, know how to use them. If you're going to use a gun on a movie, make sure that you know the safety. Okay, that's why when Alec Baldwin says, oh, 1 in a trillion, it's 1 in a trillion. It's 1 in a trillion or whatever. It never happens because there are safety protocols. The reason it happened on the Rust set is because the people like Alec Baldwin on there, the people who made the decisions, did not abide by the safety protocols that everyone else did. They were focused only on money and time and budget and things other than safety. Give me your thoughts. And they did not use the usual and ordinary safety. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now.